welcome to the opening moments of another magical video. This is episode 3 of Octavian's Stable, and I am your host, commentator, shoutcaster extraordinaire, Octavian. Good to have you along for this absolute treat of an episode that I'm sure we're in for, because we have something magical today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, today we have... Actually, that was really appropriate, directed camera, well done. Today we have a top lane bard pony. It's a rare and mystical creature, but we are a little bit lower in terms of elo than we usually reach for. The majority of the players I like to keep somewhere in Diamond 1 or higher, but we still are in the deep end of the swimming pool, folks. This is Diamond 4 level-ish, around there, if I recall correctly. Not quite the highest elo that we can pick our cherries from, but high enough, certainly, that we're going to be seeing some very interesting plays, and a sacrifice I am sure you will agree is worth making to see this magnificent beast in action. The dagger refillable potion start, top lane bard. Let's get into it, shall we? As we do have Kha'Zix actually getting a absolutely magnificent leash. Any jungler would be proud of that leash. From red team's bottom side, best AD carry ever. Let's see if he lives up to his name, alongside Penguin Lol, actually tanking up auto attacks from the jungle camp in addition to damaging it down. Moose actually lands a very nice dark binding there. And alongside Kwanzi, he will of course be rocking the Morgana with a Lucian support up against Alistar Jhin. I actually really like Alistar Jhin. Pretty dang solid lane. Lots of damage and enough peel to keep the Jhin alive. Then again, any lane that Jhin goes into becomes a lane with a lot of damage. That champion does have quite a bit to offer in that department. Looks like top lane bard is already doing some decent work, having accrued for himself a pretty sizable CS lead, but then again, we are only 2.5 minutes in, so we'll have to see where that leads. Moose getting tossed up in the air by a Pulverize is still going to come out on top in these trades, as Morgana simply does have the upper hand, trading against a melee support like Alistar. But once we get past level 3, maybe 4, getting a second point in that Pulverize to do a bit more base damage, we may see some aggressiveness from red team's bottom side. Speaking of aggressiveness, top bard is shoving hard. Yeah, it rhymed. And it looks like it's going to be turning into a CS lead up here. Pretty substantially gained. The Snake is actually doing his best to farm it up under turret. Actually misses the cannon minion. Top bard timing his poke around that. Well done. And he did bring Thunderlords. So for those of you curious as to runes and masteries, of course you can always look in the description and you will find the full runes and masteries down there. But for anybody else wanting to bring bard up into the top lane, Thunderlords is the mastery of choice apparently here. Not that I would have too much experience with that. Snake wandering forwards for a few auto attacks will take a meep to the face and a binding to the minion behind him. As I do have to say, top lane bard is not the only odd choice we're seeing so far. Probably the oddest. But we also do have a Karthus jungle, and it looks like it's potentially a Karthus main as well. We may have the double pony game on our hands here, ladies and gentlemen. Entirely unintentionally, I assure you. I did a lot of research on the top lane bard before going into this one, but perhaps I should have researched the other players in the game as well. It looks like this Karthus is just going to be hard farming, actually, fully clearing his jungle. Neither jungler having pulled off any ganks quite yet. The map is still remaining rather quiet, but the gold is slowly accruing for blue team here as we approach 5 minutes. And this with a level 3 Alistar is about the point where I believe, rather, Penguin Lol might intend to make some sort of engagement happen, especially with Kha'Zix lurking on the bottom side. He's doing his best to get the element of surprise out of those bushes, but it's hard to be sneaky when you're a giant armor-wearing cowman. You have to sympathize. Top bard going to be chased away by Snake. Actually goes down decently low. Magically journeys his way underneath the turret, though. And gets the time he needs to trade back a few auto attacks, but Snake does come out on top. And the continual sustain from this Trundle here is probably going to outmatch the amount of healing that simply a shrine every once in a while is going to give top Bard back. He does still have a stack of his refillable potion to fall back onto if necessary. Tastemyheimer D coming in for the first gank of the game in mid lane. Saves the lead so that he can get a little bit more damage into Cherry Pops here. Meanwhile, under the turret, Penguin Will is diving a little bit too far. Exhaust traded on both sides, but Quanzi had a spell shield up, beautifully placed, not only blocking the exhaust, but also halting a pulverize. And now Penguin Will getting bound up. Moose playing the support Morgana to an absolute T of perfection. Quanzi now dashing away, barely any health left, does go down to a slap from the cow, but Moose will surely clean up this kill. One more auto attack will do it. The potion ticking away nearly saves Penguin Lol's life. And meanwhile in mid lane, while directed camera was quite appropriately showing us that intense fight on bottom side, there was a solo kill going down after Tastemyheimer D's gank came in. So the kill came through off the gank, delayed, but there nonetheless, and gives the advantage over to red team's mid lane. Advantage gold-wise, though, still in total with blue, not very much, though. Likely just due to this Karthus power farming the jungle. If you've been keeping an eye on the minimap there, you may have noticed that at any given time, there's only maybe 1 or 2 jungle camps alive for blue team, as Karthus does have actually a pretty dang massive clear speed if he focuses himself on solely that. As top Bard is once again shoving out top lane, but maybe in some trouble as Snake actually opts into a fight here. Top Bard stuns him up. I think that was against his own pillar there. Anti-synergy there. Nicely timed spell shield is going to hold Quanzi free of that snare. And if Moose just gets a second level early on in that spell shield, I really don't see any way for red team to break it down here on the bottom side. Oh my god, Cherry Pops is coming in for the level 6 gank. Shurima shuffling his way underneath the turret, almost getting Jhin out there and into danger's way. And Karthus is going to use, of course, the most difficult skill shot in the game. Requiem for Jin's dreams. And take him down a notch. Oh, farming Karthus. He had the damage he needed and he took home a kill. And there is no just about escape it when there's a Karthus in the enemy team. Exhaust now coming down into luck, gonna be holding her in place a little bit longer. Quanzi flashing forward over the wall, actually predicting where that Kha'Zix was gonna be, or perhaps not, there was a ward. Penguin Lol now getting bound out and does not have the ulti to free himself in time. He's just going to buy as much time as he can before he goes down, but it will be Quanzi taking on the kill. Meanwhile, we have some aggression in top side from top Bard, who, after landing the Tempered Fate, is going to back off, surprisingly enough. You know, it's not about getting the kills when you're playing top lane Bard. It's about sending a message. And the message there is that he really didn't think that gold was Trundle's color. He just wanted to make sure that Trundle had a chance to find that out, you know. He's a fair man, Bard. If he is indeed a man. Unsure. Jury's still out on that one. Quanzi now shoving up the bottom lane, and this bottom lane has been going perfectly for blue team. Well, I say perfectly. Quanzi has died once, so I suppose not technically perfectly, but it's been going rather well. But, to be fair, the best AD carry ever. Well, he hasn't held true to his name in KDA. He's held decently true to it in CS, and is actually only 2 behind, despite being 3 kills back. Which is a bit of an accomplishment, especially against such a lane bully as a Lucian. And a Morgana. Let's not forget Moose's wonderful performance in that early 2v2. That black shield, that single solitary black shield, did so much work. So we have top Bard in trouble in top lane. He's going to journey his way straight out of trouble, however. Black shield again on point, and we have the Shurima shuffle from Cherry Pops, who certainly has a preference as to how he likes to gank bottom lane. Quanzi is on a killing spree. And Cherry Pops has had a huge impact on the game already. Before 10 minutes, 2 roams to bottom side, both of which have resulted in kills. This is looking good for blue, and looking good for our resident pony. Or ponies, I should say, with Karthus in the jungle. Surprise pony! Unless you're at an 11-year-old girl's birthday party, surprise pony is never a good thing to hear. I don't think there's any situation in which that's a good thing, aside from that. And that was Azir ganking even through the pink ward placed in the try. they read what this Azir loved to do, and they tried to prevent it, but they couldn't do it quick enough. Speaking of not being quick enough, the final spark's not going to do much other than provide a fancy light show beneath which Lux perishes. As the League of Karth, after an early game spent killing some minions, decides to change it up a bit and brings down his second kill of the game onto Lux. 7-3 now for blue team. And Top Bard has finished his first core item, the rapid fire cannon, of course. I mean, what else would you go? Pretty self-explanatory right there. Nice sidestep on the binding from Lucian. Binding as well up on top side. Cosmic this time. The Snake is getting harassed away by these continual Bard crits. Top Bard is continuing the chase as well. Cosmic Binding again flying out, but not finding its target this time. As we have Kha'Zix visiting the mid lane once more. Oh, Spell Shield again in time to block out any CC this Alistar has to throw. Moose has been hugely beneficial for Kwanzi in this lane. And has actually already picked up Ionian Boots of Lucidity. Interesting choice out of Morgana support. Certainly not a bad one. Cooldown reduction on a champion with such impactful cooldowns as Morgana is really valuable. But movement speed may have been an option as well. Meanwhile, though, we return to the top side where Top Bard is in a lot of trouble. There's the flash away after healing himself. He's just getting over the wall to Magical Journey, but just as he is about to enter his portal to safety, a final spark comes and finishes him off. As Lux shows that she too can roam. And is actually doing better on KDA, despite the fact that we've seen Azir in more places on the map here. NA CS2-114 Lab, one of the more esoteric names I've casted for, is sitting at 3-1 and has finished off a Spell Thieves Frost Queen's Claim. Pardon me. Confusing the names of the varying levels of evolution that item has. But yes, Frost Queen's Claim. A little bit reminiscent of the earlier parts of Season 6, though still a decent buy. League of Karth is doing his best to ignore Trundle, but that may not have been the right call, though Sneak is taking a lot of damage back himself, as Karthus does make a pretty good name for himself in the club of champions with high consistent damage. Top Bard gonna be snared up there, but he fires back with a massive burst of his own. That meat chunked hard, man. Cherry Pop's gonna be tossing Taste My Heimer D back into the turret, but Heimer is more than willing to flash to pick up the kill on Azir. He goes down yet again from the mid lane, and now with Snake holding up the front line, looks like they're gonna be trying to get a push in the mid turret. Tempered Fate will stall it out, but that might be all. Nice stun from Top Bard, who is attacking with all the fury of an angered Cosmic Spirit. League of Karth is doing some good damage and clearing out the minions as well. There's the Lux ulti. Top Bard just about saves himself with the healing shrine. Journeys away to the safety of his jungle, but that will be the demise of the turret. With no wandering caretakers left to defend it. Flash forward from League of Karth, who is going incredibly aggressive here. Maybe paying for it with his life. He does indeed. Snake brings him down, but here comes the Karthus ult through. Kwanzi again getting a beautifully placed spell shield. Moose now in the backlines with the chains is going to be binding them up and separating the enemy bottom lane. Another Dark Binding landing onto Alistar here, but he is a very tanky cow, man. Dash away from Kwanzi. Takes my Henry. Does a lot of damage, but not enough to bring this through. Best AD carry ever is going to be going down, and in a 3v2, blue team's bottom lane takes it home. 2 kills for none. This Lucian Morgana combo is pulling much more than their weight this game. They are pulling so much weight and doing so much work down here on the bottom side. These black shields have been incredibly on point. I've said it a few times, but I cannot emphasize that enough. Cherry Pops with the Emperor's Divide going to be knocking Lab back next to a soldier, but his consistent damage is not enough to stand up in the face of that Lux burst. And NACS 2114 Lab, I think it's the last time we'll be saying his name in its entirety, takes home his 4th kill of the game. This Lux doing pretty well, despite having been a little behind in some of the roams earlier, has managed to snipe off enough kills with the ulti and apply enough pressure even to take down the mid lane turret, as well as getting a pretty dang good KDA for himself. Let's play the game of Guess What Bard will build next. Rapid fire cannon completed. What's the next logical choice for top lane Bard? A longsword. Confusing and scary, but has a lot of prospects in terms of item builds. I would guess myself, but I've already watched this guy play a few matches, and I've seen his builds, so that would be cheating, but please do, pause the video right now, go down to the comments, type in what you think it's going to be, and if you're correct, then give yourself a pat on the back. If you're not, then don't. Use the honor system. No self back pats if you get it wrong. Oh, leap forward from Taste My Heimer D. Top Bard is taking far too much damage far too quickly, and he will go down in a 2v1. Not ideal for our one trick, who's having a rough game of it with an 0-2 scoreline. Snake now looking to get another turret on his kill list. Pardon me, and pick up a few cups of hot cocoa along the way. This will go nicely with his burning cape of flames. He probably doesn't need any hot cocoa. He's probably a little bit too hot and bothered already. But maybe that's why he's smushing them into the ground instead of drinking them, like a heathenous animal. Bottom side of the map, though, given that Kha'Zix is up topside and unable to go for the steal here, it looks like blue team will be taking home a dragon for themselves. Lab now caught out of position, will toss out the ulti and actually bring down Karthus with it, who was rather low from taking out the dragon in the first place. But with an ulti of his own, Karthus will take back the revenge post-mortem. And here comes Culling just in time to get through that Alistar ulti, and this Minotaur has been having a rough game of it. He may just have to go back to his maze and sulk for a little while. That was an ancient Grecian myth reference. I am on point today, boys. And 1 and 4. Alistar's not having a great time. Blue team's bottom lane. Really the linchpin for them right now. That's a Sheen. And we just saw Bard complete over there. Oh, Cherry Pop's in a lot of trouble. He's going to get bursted right down to the ground. Very squishy man there. He does have a turret to leave as his legacy for this team fight, though, but it may not be enough. Now Moose, the last man standing from this skirmish, is going to do his best to juke away from Taste My Heimer D, who may be chasing a little bit too far and leaving best AD carry ever out to dry to the high damage Bard. Now with his fellow pony, Top Bard is going to chunk away Kha'Zix with a crit and a meep and send him to an early grave, picking up the shutdown for his kill. For his team, pardon me. Shutdown kill for his team. Words are difficult. We return once again to Quietude across Summoner's Rift Tower. 2 minutes until Rift Herald dissipates and gives way to his larger brother, Baron. Goes on home to, I don't know, catch an evening program on the telly or something, I don't know. Don't ask me what Rift Herald does for the latter half of the game, if it goes past 20 minutes. It must be really awkward for Baron if a game ends really early, though, and doesn't get to 20 minutes. It's like they hired him, but they never needed him to show up for the performance. At least he still gets to collect a paycheck, I hope. Red buff going to be given over to Lucian, however. Good place to put it. Kwanzi being 7 and 2 is quite a powerhouse. Looks to be working. Maybe on a Blade, maybe on a Bloodthirster, maybe just wants the Vamp Scepter for some lifesteal and he'll go somewhere else. You never can tell. Oh no, Top Bard going to be caught up in a series of binds. And a flash forward for critical hits. Best AD carry ever. We'll take down our hero, who tumbles to the ground and explodes in a puffy ball of cosmic death. And then turns into a pretty flower and explodes again. That was quite the death over there. Pardon me. This feels like I have something caught in my throat. Are you going to finish that pink ward? Look, don't start something if you can't finish it. Don't leave a pink ward on your plate. Kha'Zix looking for the flank. As 3 members of red team do shove up bottom side. It's a lot of wave clear from this Lux. Karth might be in some trouble, does get the spell shield. Also the sidestep. Taste My Harmony coming around the side. Moose going to be dropping the ulti though, and Kwanzi will burst him down almost instantly. League of Karth caught off from the rest of his team. He's going to do quite a bit of damage to Snake here before flashing over the wall, dropping the ulti on every head from red team. And Kha'Zix thought he had a flank, but his plans were squashed like the bug he is. Cherry Poke getting caught by a binding, getting caught by the full combo even. Goes very, very low and actually has the cojones to leap back in himself. Good lord, now teleport coming in from Top Bard as we have a fight breaking out in full form here. Kwanzi brings down Snake, gets chunked to half himself, however. Curtain Call doesn't land any kills, though. Best AD carry ever going to be setting up to clear out some waves here as the Bard teleport kind of fizzles out. The fight ending before he gets there to take part in the festivities. An unfortunate feeling every time it happens. Maybe had he opted to burn Tempered Fate, he may have been able to keep the fight going a little bit longer, but it would have been difficult to land. And a cooldown not used is a cooldown saved. And used potentially for an engage in future. Bard is actually sort of the main form of engage for blue team, aside perhaps from a flash ult from this Morgana or a Shurima sweep from Cherry Pops' Azir, both of which are rather risky, putting a squishy member of blue team right up in the face of the enemy team. Speaking of being right up in face of the enemy team, Moose and Top Bard are turning the corner here onto Taste-My-Heimer. He does have a ward in place to spot them out though, and we'll back out. Top Bard going to be magically journeying into the face of a Troll King. Spell immune, however, will be able to rush off from the slow field around the pillar. Does take half his health for his troubles though. Penguin Zo finds himself in face of a ghostly wall. It looks like blue team's going to be able to disengage here unless NA CS and pick up a good binding. But getting hit by a good binding himself, he's not going to be able to find one. Meanwhile, both AD carries are facing off in the mid lane. I suppose they're facing off each other's minions in the mid lane. Oh, Kwanzi looks to take it to the next level, dashing under the turret for a passive enhanced auto attack, but he looks to be getting flanked on right now, and if he doesn't start moseying out of mid lane anytime soon, he won't be able to mosey much longer. Oh, there is the cleanse! And the dash away from the full combo. Quicksilver Sash saving Kwanzi's bacon right there. And Cherry Poke's going to pop down his passive and help his team set up a bastion of defense. An unstoppable pushing bastion of defense in mid lane. Red team is lucky to have this Lux in the team. Jhin as well, though, is pretty good wave clear, but I was going to say because blue team has quite a sieging team comp. Missing only really a long-range AD carry, but other than that, I guess they do have a Azir. And Karthus' ability to shove out a wave almost instantaneously means they can apply pressure with ease. But Jhin and Lux can fight back decently well in the minion-killing battles. Cherry Pops is going to be in a lot of trouble here, though. He's getting dove underneath his turret. Here comes Tempered Fate to hold him up for a little bit longer. So that's going to be all it does. Cherry Pops does go down. Taste-My-Heimer, though, might be paying for that kill. Stunned up against the nub of the turret there by Cosmic Binding. 1-for-1 so far between the two teams. Kwanzi getting pillared. There's Lux ulti to clear the wave and do a bit of good damage. League of Cards getting bound up beneath the turret by Captive Audience. As Top Bard looks to put out whatever chip damage he can manage. From a flanking position around the corner. League of Cards, though, took a little bit too much for comfort to be able to continue the push, and it looks like both teams will back away, having traded kills and traded minion waves. Now, moving about 24 minutes into this game, we are relatively even still. 2k gold lead for blue team, but that's low enough that it could be swung back and forth pretty much at a moment's notice, given a good team fight here or a bad pick there. Where here and where there, I do not know. That remains to be seen as the game runs its course. Of course, Rift Herald is out of the picture now, and Baron is around. Nice. Oh no, Kwanzi didn't realize he had the black shield in time, actually burned his QSS. That's a pretty big cooldown down. For pretty much no reason. Top Bard now getting harassed by Snake. He's going to have Cherry Pops at his back, but I don't think they can even 2v1 this guy, or maybe they can. The Exile comes down, Emperor's Divide, and Cherry Pops will finish off the kill. Trundle biting off a little bit more than he can chew, quite literally biting it off. In the form of a 2v1 topside. The Lux ult, though, comes in and it picks up the double kill with the help of a few minion autos. Oh no, that feels bad. Oh, and Bard has a Trinity Force. Bard has a Trinity Force, ladies and gentlemen. Rapid Fire Cannon Trinity Force. Oh my god. I've got respect. I've got respect for this guy. But you know, he just confuses me. He confuses me so much. But that's why I want to show you this replay, everybody. That's why I wanted to show this to the world, because this game can still be fun, you know? It can still be so much fun, and I think one-trick ponies exemplify that so much. Especially some of the weirder ones. Ooh, Captive Audience didn't quite connect there. As Moose is actually flashing forward for the binding, forces a flash out of the enemy mid laner. Going to be popping into the ult, dropping the spell shield on himself, but Taste doesn't really care about magic damage shields. There's a lot of physical damage himself, nearly brings down Karthus, but doesn't quite. Now Top Bard showing up for the cleanup, won't bring down the enemy jungler. There's the Karthus ulti, not quite killing Alistar, who's hiding for his life in the bush, but Top Bard spots him out with a ward and tosses in a Meep-enhanced auto attack. Tempered Fate going to be coming in, but it gets flashed away by Snake. Now here comes Curtain Call, 1 auto attack, 2 ulti shots, 3 ulti shots, 4, but only 1 connects. Karthus in his passive will do his best to clear out the minion wave here. If Top Bard can land a few well-placed auto attacks, maybe they can defend this, but Snake is a tanky Trundle. Flash forward from best AD carry ever for an auto attack of his own. Brings down the Emperor of Shurima. And brings down one of his turrets as well. Top Bard's going for the 1v1 though, and best AD carry ever is not able to handle it. Lucian shows up at the last minute to steal Bard's glory. But it was indeed Bard's glory in the end. I'm actually curious here. Good, thank you, Directed Camera, for showing me. I wanted to check on the chimes collected here. 52. Not a bad number for 26 minutes of the game, especially considering he was in a solo lane where he had to farm as well. You might actually see a support bard get a higher number than that, simply because a support bard doesn't have to stay as religiously focused into a single lane to catch farm and scale up gold. So, 52 charms, a decent number for 27 now minutes into the game here. There's the leap in from Tastemyheimer, who's taking home a neat little kill on the enemy support. Dash away from Lucian will keep himself safe at the very least. And actually NACS picked it up with the final spark from a distance. And it looks like we're just going to be waiting until the next objective opens up on the map for these teams to duke it out once again. Either that or somebody to get caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Dragon will be up in a minute and a half. That could very well be our next point of contention. And with another Zeal in his inventory, Top Bard continues to perplex and amaze with this item build. Yeah, at least he perplexes me. I hope he's amazing somebody. There's the Tempered Fate. Jhin is very much immobile and cannot get out of the range of that. And bursted away, he's out of the picture already. Now League of Karth is looking to take home a kill on Penguin Wool, but without any CC left to offer, it looks like Alistar will be able to wander his way out of there. Red team AD carry down, though. And then maybe the Baron call here. There's a lot of consistent damage from blue. They can burn this thing away pretty quick. Cherry Pops maybe a little bit too aggressive onto that minion wave there. Wanted to clear it out before blue team went to the Baron pit, but pays for that with his life. Tastemyheimer, though, sees a kill that wasn't quite safe enough for that much aggression. And Kwanzi instantly cleansing the light binding as it connects. Again, maybe a little bit too trigger happy on the cleanse button there. But it looked like the black shield was just about to expire, so maybe he was right to cleanse that one. Because I think the light binding actually connected as the black shield expired and thus would have registered as CC. And Lux could probably have full comboed him. NACS 2114 Lab is doing quite a bit of damage at this point. 10 and 2. Doing rather well. The quiet sort of rather well, in which he hasn't really made any huge flashy plays himself, but he's always been there to take home kills during fights. And he's been performing very consistently. That works rather well. Sorry about that, folks. I don't know why the recording cut out there for a moment. Hopefully it is not going to be coming back to us, as that is a rather annoying bug. Here's Curtain Call coming down. Kwanzi might be in some trouble. He has to dodge into the Lucent Singularity to avoid the first bullet. And so the second one will connect and take home the kill rather easily. Lucian playing with fire for a little bit too long. Without a support to back him up, does go down. 4v5 now. We'll see what red team can do with the man advantage on the map. NACS opting to pick up a blue buff before heading home. See what sort of item breakpoint he may be sitting at. Got 1.2k, 1.3k so in his pockets. Might be enough to pick up something impactful, at least needlessly large. And these teamfights will come down to who can burst who quicker, given that red team really doesn't have a tank, and blue team has just a singular one, really. Alistar can be rather tanky while he has the ult active, but that's possible to play around. Trundle going to be the main tanking force in this game, pretty much overall. doing his best to shove out the top side, where Morgana laid down that banner of command. Pardon me. An item becoming more and more popular with supports as of late. Allows that fifth member of your team to have more of an impact in terms of map control and global pressure. But Trundle was pretty easily able to counter it. Auto attack heavy champions do bring that thing down rather quickly. It's immune to magic damage, but not so immune to clubs to the face. Few things really are. I suppose aside from a Jax twirling a lamppost, oddly enough. Never really understood why that works, especially against some champions like Jhin, for example, who's firing literal bullets at people. Oh, there's the Shurima Shuffle. And that is a dead bug. And now we get to see the 1v1 top. Please, can we see this? I really want to see this top Bard 1v1 somebody. It's just my dream at this point. Best AD carry ever going to be flashing away from the culling before the last few bullets can slay him, but it does give an opening for League of Karth to flash on in himself. League of Karth now rather low, going to be backing away, passing the baton over to Cherry Pops, who's now taking the front line for blue team. Top Bard going to be following it up as well. League of Karth is actually going to get interrupted out of his ulti here. That's a lot of damage lost for blue team, but in the end it will not matter, as too many members of red have already fallen, and League of Karth is still going to be able to do some work at least with his passive onto Snake here. Oh, Top Bard going to be in a 1v1 with Penguin, lol. I guess this sort of counts. Look at that damage output. Oh, that's no Bard. Rapid fire cannon, static shiv. Who cares if they don't stack anymore? You can still buy them both, especially if you're playing something as magical as top lane Bard. Snake going so very low. Another few auto attacks will finish the job. And is Baron a possibility here for blue team? They seem to be a little bit wary of it, as they don't really have a proper tank. And pretty much everybody else in their team is really low. It looks like we're going to return to some more quiet on the map again. A few more kills going over to blue team, though, is going to equalize the gold, which red team actually took advantage in, having taken a turret more than their opposing number. But it still looks like blue team is very much in control of this game, even despite being technically behind. They're playing these fights rather well, and their damage is just too high for red team to deal with. Even their tanks like Snake's Trundle just can't stand up to the constant damage output that Azir and Karthus are putting out, not to mention the top lane Bard. They're going to need to get some picks early on, which they have the composition to do. Tastemyheimer has been really insistent about trying to pick these up. It's worked out for him about half the time. I say the other half, it's been pretty disastrous. There, he does pull Moon's ulti, I suppose. Burns his own to get away, though. Oh my god, look at that Cosmic Binding connecting onto two carries from the side of red team. The top Bard is dominating Snake, teleporting in, but it's likely just going to be to his own demise. He's trying to do as much work as he can here onto Kwanzi before he goes down, and a Tempered Fate is going to continue the fight. There's a Dark Binding. Penguin Low will break out of that one with his Unbreakable Will. Some good damage from Lux across three members of blue team, but it is way too little, way too late. And without losing a single member, blue team pick up 4 kills and chase away the Lux. Or maybe they don't. And ACS is sticking around. He's trying to clear this wave out. It was maybe a little bit too brave for him. He's coming in for the auto attack, but the Morgana shield will keep Kwanzi alive. And ACS is playing it really fast and loose here. One skill shot lands on him and he is out of the picture, and that may just be GG. It looks like he does keep his distance. At least enough distance not to die. In the end, though, blue team still coming out massively ahead there. Oh my god. Please. Please. Oh, okay. The Lux ulti comes in and snipes 2 kills, actually. Very conveniently placed. Lucian and Karthus standing right next to each other, right on top of each other, even, really. There. Just perfectly placed. So that Lux can drop a well-timed ulti and take home a double. At the cost of, what is at this point an incredibly low cooldown ulti? Let's see. Yeah, 7 seconds till that's back up here. 32.5 second ult. looks like Red Team's going to take that opening, actually, to go for a Baron play. And more power to him on that. This is going to be able to help them come back into this game, which they just kind of threw away some of. And that'll equalize the throw from earlier, and once again put the gold basically even. 2-turret lead, though, for blue. Does mean they have a bit more global pressure, and on top of that, of course, they have the inhibitor down in mid. I'd still say blue team is favored here to win, but that's quite a big misstep. And it may also lead to a dragon. Neither team particularly close to the 5th dragon buff means that this objective isn't quite as important as it could be here, 36 minutes into the match. But it's nothing to be sniffed at. And 5 Baron buff members strong, Red team will return to their base to await blue team's next push, which looks to be down on the bottom side of the map, as they are accruing the resources there. Pretty much 6-item build Lucian here. Kwanzi's going to be doing quite a bit of damage in these fights. As we see the Essence Reaver come out for our resident top lane Bard. There's the Jhin ulti actually to start off the fight, but he gets cancelled out of it by Tempered Fate. Ults traded here so far. Of approximately similar value, I'd say. And with a large wave pushing topside, blue team does have to back off. And that is some aggression successfully defended by red. Top Bard's a little alone here. He gets good damage in onto the Kazakhs, but has to rush away before anything bad happens to him. The red team is just looking for an opening back into this game. That middle inhibitor down is a thorn in their side, as you can see there on the minimap. There are little blue dots in their base, which is not where they want the little blue dots to be. Those are the bad kind of Skittles. I don't think there are blue Skittles. I asked the tough questions here. Oh, Top Bard dodging the binding, gets the good damage down onto that Lux. Oh my god. Snake now caught out by the Morgana ulti. Is going to be a bit tankier to take down, but with 3 members strong, I'm sure they can accomplish the task. As here, Sand Shoulders coming in just for good measure. Kwanzi takes home the kill. 2 men down. Red team is in a rough situation here. Half the team looked to be going for maybe a pick or a skirmish on the top side of the map there. A push even, as Trundle was Baron buffing that huge wave up to shove in. But the other half saw there are blue dots in our base, and they had to go deal with that. And so they headed on home. And that left Trundle and Lux all alone. And very much cut out of position. Kwanzi and Top Bard now bravely venturing into the enemy jungle to steal away a red buff. Magical journey across the wall just for fear tactics. Show the Jhin that he could be coming, and he doesn't want to right yet. Oh, good lord. That Triforce empowered crit from Top Bard dealt quite a bit of damage. Secondary turn on top side will fall, giving an even further lead over to blue. They do have Lux's wave clear to go on here. Banner of Command and Minion will help negate that a bit for blue side, as it is immune to Lux's magic damage, but they've also got some decent ranged physical damage to take it down as well. Captive Audience not quite landing. As Top Bard casts a very, very long magical journey to wind his way out of that fight. It looks like blue team is going to be happy taking down an outer turret, or secondary turret I should say, and retreating here. And blows traded back and forth. Blue team is slowly coming out on top. It'll be a little while before we see any global objectives respawn here. And I'm actually unsure of where the next team fight may erupt. Very possibly mid lane, as we do see an open inhibitor just having respawned there, fresh and ready for picking for blue. Who at this point aren't actually as definably ahead in terms of team fights, as item builds even up to 6, or almost 6, on both sides. Once you get to that point, gold leads start to matter less and less. There's really not much more you can do with gold after you fill your inventory up with goodies. do see both teams accruing pretty much all their strength towards mid. The blue may be looking to shove out bot. That looks to be the call, yeah. As they're grouping up on the bottom side of the map here, Lucian and Bard a little bit late to the party. Cherry Pops might be caught out too far ahead. Penguin Will going to be landing the Alistair combo onto him, followed up by some good damage from Jin. Penguin Will, though, forced to pop the ulti as he gets CC'd himself. Now Snake diving to the back line is going to try and finish off the kill that started the fight, but Cherry Pops is hard to latch onto behind that Emperor's Divide. Best AD carry ever will finally take it home. Here comes the Bard ulti, though, and Tempered Fate's going to be catching out best AD carry ever. Pardon me, not... Champion names are hard, my friends. Kha'Zix going down. Snake, though, still alive, is wreaking havoc at the backside, forcing League of Karth. Is this the pentakill for Kwanzi, who has been untouched this whole fight? There it is! Piercing Light takes it home, and a Lucian pentakill will seal the deal on this game for sure. No inhibitor turret remaining. There's the surrender vote. Thank you all for watching. This has been yet another episode of OCTAVIAN'S Stable. Perhaps a bit less of a serious one, but still very enjoyable. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did there. A needlessly large rod in Bard's inventory. I am perplexed at this point. But I hope I'll see you all next time. Next episode should be coming out in about a week's time. Keep your eyes peeled and your ears to the ground and your subscription feeds ready and waiting. I'll see you then.